This video, I want to go over useful websites that I wish I knew earlier. Here I have a list, and we'll start off with some honorable mentions and move ourselves up the usefulness ladder, which will lead us to the most useful website of them all. The first one I discovered just recently, and it's called Excalibur. It's basically a tool that lets you draw stuff. You get the point. You can do things like cool rectangles and stuff, and obviously add different types of text. You can change everything like the text size and font families. It's basically just a great tool to annotate something. You can also find an image on the internet and then annotate it by using Excalibur. So for example, if I pick up this gorgeous image of this gentleman here and then go into Excalibur and drop him in, I can now make him larger and draw something like thicker eyebrows or a nice mustache. Very nice. Once you're done drawing, you can press Command-Shift-E to export your image in different formats, or just come to this hamburger menu and choose Export Image. Very nice. Next one is a very serious website, and it's called Unfair Platformer. Well, it's not really a website, but a game within a website, and it's just the best game ever made. It's especially great for trolling your friends because it's an unfair platformer. Essentially, it's just a platformer game, and it's very funny if your friends play it because the game trolls you. I first found out about this game from PewDiePie, and PewDiePie playing this game were probably my most favorite videos that he made. So it's a very nice game. The next one is called DeepL.com, and essentially this is just a great translate. It works so much better than Google Translate. The only drawback is that it doesn't have many of the languages that are in the world. But if you speak any of these languages here, it's so much better than Google Translate. It even has an app for your phone, so you can just download it, and if you frequently translate, for example, English to German or something, or English to Chinese, then use this website or app instead of Google Translate. It's so much better. Next up is Photopia. It's essentially a free Photoshop within your browser. You can create a new project, and if you've ever used something similar to Photoshop, you'll immediately feel at home. There are all the basic tools, and I think even the shortcuts work. Yes, they do. Which is very nice if you don't want to pay $7 billion for an Adobe subscription, or if you're not Jack Sparrow. Once you're done with your creation, you can go into File and Save as PSD, which will save it as a Photoshop file that you can open in Photoshop. Probably not super useful because you're going to be using this as Photoshop, or you can export it as PNG, JPEG, and all of these files. And it doesn't ask you to pay anything to export a file, which is very nice. Now, speaking of things that are pretty nice, the next website is pretty nice. It's called the Hemingway app, and it basically corrects your grammar mistakes. So you can just paste any text here, and it will not only correct your punctuation, but also everything else that could be improved in your sentences. Let's see how well a part of my video script is written. So you can hover over the words that it highlights, and you can either accept or ignore its suggestions. So if I omit eventually, it just removes it automatically. It also gives you a readability score and a word count, and my script is good to go for grade 6. That's pretty high. So if you're writing a cover letter or email, just chuck it into the Hemingway app, and it'll make you sound more professional than you are. The next website is called Shots.to. Here you can basically create different mockups. For example, if you're selling digital products like wallpapers or anything else, you can put a photo of that digital product here, and it'll add a nice background around it. For example, here's one of my wallpapers from my new wallpaper pack, and just look at how nice it made it look. I can adjust the position, make it bigger or smaller. I can also go into frame here and select different colors. There are even MacBook wallpapers. For this image, I think the gray one works beautiful. You can even scroll down and see ones generated for you based on this image, so you can make it look exceptionally good. You can also add noise to the background to make it look more like sandpaper, and change the different aspects of the image itself, like the roundedness of corners. You can adjust the drop shadow. Once you're done, you can just click download, and it'll download to your power station. Next one is WeTransfer. If you're not a sworn Apple user and there's no AirDrop, you can use this website to send files to your friends or to your other device without having to use email. You just go in, select no thanks, I agree, then simply drag the file that you want to upload, click on these three dots and select get transfer link. Once you you click Get a Link, you'll get a link that you can send to anyone and they will be able to download the file. So if I open an incognito tab and paste in the link, you'll see that I can immediately click no thanks again, I agree again, and download the file that I uploaded before. And there it is, perfectly transferred in full resolution. Next one is called MacOS Icons.com. If you have a Mac and you don't really like some icons that you have, you can just look for that app over here, for example, Spotify, and instead of having to use the boring default icon, you can download something more fancy. Now you can go into your applications folder by clicking Command-Shift-A, find the app that you want, click Command-I to open the Get Info menu, and then just drag the new icon on top of the old icon and you will replace it. It might take some time for the new icon to show up on your app, but if you want to speed up this process, you can open the terminal and type kill all dock. Click enter and now your dock will refresh and you'll have a nice fresh icon. Next is Textrollabs. This website basically has a bunch of free textures that you can download and use for videos or Photoshop files or YouTube thumbnails. These files can be pretty large, so you can download smaller ones if you're that guy and basically use them as overlays or different textures for your images. It's just a great resource. The next one is called Real World Graphics. Very interesting name. But here you can find billions of cursors for your mouse. These are obviously for Windows users, but if you have an app called Mousescape, you can download these and you'll be able to have a Windows cursor for your Mac. I made an entire video about this utility, which I'll link to in the description. Next is whereisthis.com. If you found an image of a place and you have no idea where it's located, you can simply upload it to this website and people will locate it for you. Alternatively, you can use what's called a reverse image search. I believe Yandex has the best one. This website is great if you want to find similar images or ones that have higher resolutions. You can just drag an image in here and it'll find every single similar image that exists on the internet. As you can see, there are many, and this one is actually a lot higher resolution than my previous one. So I could just open it or find more similar ones. Very nice. But if this tool doesn't work, you can go to whereisthis.com and upload your image here and people will locate it for you. Next is basically any course platform on the planet, like Udemy or Skillshare. I'm a little biased here because I have a few courses on Skillshare, so I'm gonna say it's Skillshare. Essentially, you can go in and learn a bunch of cool stuff and you can finesse it in a way that it's free. So Skillshare has a free 30-day trial, so you can just sign up for an account, get the trial and cancel before it ends and take any courses on the platform completely for free for 1 month. Of course, I recommend picking from these 7 high-quality courses from yours truly. Next up is a website called onelook.com/reverse dictionary. This is perfect for when you know a word exists, but you can't remember it and you know how to describe it. For example, when someone laughs hysterically. I've described the word and it gave me ideas for how that word could be called, uncontrollable laughter. So if you forget a word but know how to describe it, you can just describe it here and this website will tell you the word. Next is haveibeenowned.com with a P. You enter in your email address, click on owned or pwned, and it'll tell you if your email has been breached through a data leak, so you know that you shouldn't keep the same password. It's also recommended to use a password manager and have different passwords for each email, and don't reuse the same password that you use for your email for anything else. Because if someone gets access to your email, they can essentially get access to anywhere else where you can log in with your email because they can change the password with your email. So make sure you use different passwords for your email and don't use them anywhere else. Or better yet, just use a password manager. The next website is called archive.org, and here you can basically find everything. This is essentially archive of the internet. It has 11 million videos, 38 million books, 2.6 million TV shows, and many more things. The next website is called Shrib. It's basically a place where you can write something and then share it with your friend. Once you write something, you can copy the URL, send it to your friend, and if I go into my incognito browser and paste it in, you'll see that the same note appears with a bunch of ads. And now for the most useful website on this list, I present to you Reddit.
You serious?
Yep. It's just a better Google. If you have a problem and you search it through Google, most likely there's not going to be a good answer and there's going to be 1 billion ads showing up before the answer. But usually, if you search for the same problem and just add Reddit at the end of your search, you're probably going to find it a lot faster. For example, if you're looking for video ideas for the best websites to showcase to your audience, you could potentially type in useful websites, add Reddit at the end, go in here and copy all of these websites that people are recommending and share it with your audience and pretend that you found them. Let me know if you agree with my list and let me know the websites I missed, because there are many and maybe I'll include them in the next one. And I'll leave you with this video here, which I guarantee is amazing.